Three stories. Two are completely false. One is 100% real. Can you guess which one is true?
Be careful. Some of these stories sound incredibly convincing, Shu, but science will prove them wrong.
Hey everyone, welcome to True or Trick, the show where we test your instincts and challenge what you think you know. I'm Julian, and this is Riley, and today we've got three unbelievable stories for you.
Will you be able to separate fact from fiction? Stick around until the end to see if you guessed right.
In 1989, a boy named Daniel Carter made headlines in a small town in Missouri. At the age of 10, he allegedly predicted a massive tornado 3 days before it struck, saving his entire school. According to his teachers, Daniel suddenly stood up in the middle of class and shouted, "Why, we need to leave. A big storm is coming." At the time, the sky was clear and no weather warnings had been issued. His panic grew so intense that his teacher took him to the principal's office. That afternoon, his parents picked him up and he continued repeating, "It's coming. The sky will turn green and it will take everything away." 2 days later, the town was hit by an EF4 tornado, leveling entire neighborhoods and causing significant damage. However, thanks to Daniel's outburst, his school had unknowingly prepared an emergency drill, ensuring no one was inside when the tornado struck. News outlets covered the bizarre coincidence, but Daniel's parents refused to let him speak publicly. They claimed he had predicted other small events before, such as a car accident and a lightning strike. As he grew older, Daniel's visions supposedly became more intense. Some reports say he tried to warn officials about Hurricane Katrina years before it happened, but no one took him seriously. After 2005, Daniel Carter vanished from the public eye, with conspiracy theorists claiming he was taken in by the government or went into hiding. There is no official record of him as an adult, making some believe he was just an urban legend. Did Daniel truly have a gift? Or was it all a strange coincidence? While science argues that predicting the future is impossible, stories like his keep the mystery alive.
In 1971, Julian Kopka, a 17-year-old girl, boarded Lanza Flight 508 with her mother in Peru. It was supposed to be a short, routine flight, but it turned into a disaster. A violent thunderstorm struck the plane mid-air, causing it to break apart at 10,000 feet. As the aircraft disintegrated, Julianne, still strapped to her seat, was thrown out, free-falling through the sky. Amazingly, the dense canopy of the Amazon rainforest cushioned her fall, and she survived with only minor injuries. Alone, terrified, and stranded in one of the most dangerous jungles on Earth, she had no choice but to rely on her instincts. Having been raised by scientist parents in the jungle, Julianne remembered that following water leads to civilization. She began walking along a stream, despite her wounds and the presence of deadly animals. For 11 days, she endured insect bites, hunger, and exhaustion. At one point, she found a wound on her arm infested with maggots and had to use gasoline she found from a wreckage to remove them. Just when she was losing hope, she stumbled upon a small hut used by loggers. Weak and dehydrated, she collapsed. Hours later, rescuers arrived and were stunned to hear her incredible survival story. She was the only survivor out of 91 passengers. Her mother had perished in the crash, but Julianne's resilience and survival skills allowed her to defy all odds. Years later, she became a biologist, dedicating her life to studying the very rainforest that almost claimed her life. Her story was later adapted into books and documentaries, cementing her place in history as one of the greatest survival stories ever told.
In 2006, a man named Luis Martinez was found wandering the streets of Madrid, confused and disoriented. He claimed to be from a country called Taurechi, which, according to him, had existed for centuries. Authorities thought he was delusional until they checked his passport. The document was official and stamped, but no such country existed. Even more bizarrely, his bank cards and driver's license were from organizations that didn't exist. When officials showed him a world map, he became visibly distressed, insisting Torage should be where Andorra was. He described his home city, government, and history in great detail, yet no record of any of it existed. Determined to solve the mystery, they placed him in a secured hotel room overnight while they investigated further. The next morning, when officials went to check on him, Luis Martinez had vanished without a trace. His room was locked from the inside, no signs of escape, no security footage showing anyone entering or leaving. All his belongings, including his passport and documents, were gone. Some believe he was a time traveler or a visitor from a parallel universe who somehow crossed into our reality. Others think it was an elaborate hoax or even a case of a severe identity disorder. To this day, no official records of a man matching his description exist, and the case remains one of Spain's strangest urban legends. Scientists dismiss the idea of parallel universes interacting with ours, but could this case be the exception? Perhaps somewhere in a different timeline, Luis Martinez is still searching for his way back home, back to a country that in our world never existed.
So, which one do you think is true? Drop your guess in the comments before I reveal the answer.
If you guessed story number 2, you're right. Julian Kapsky's survival story is 100% real and one of the most incredible cases of human resilience. Stories number 1 and number 3 completely made up, but admit it, they sounded pretty convincing, didn't they? On December 24th, 1971, 17-year-old Julian Kupka boarded Lanza Flight 508 with her mother. Just 25 minutes into the flight, a lightning strike tore the plane apart over the Amazon rainforest. Still strapped to her seat, Julianne fell from 10,000 feet into the dense jungle. Miraculously, the trees cushioned her fall, and she survived with minor injuries, though completely alone. For 11 days, she wandered through the dangerous jungle, battling hunger, insect bites, and exhaustion. Remembering her parents' survival advice, she followed a stream, hoping it would lead to civilization. At one point, she poured gasoline on her infected wounds to remove maggots burrowing into her skin. Weak and disoriented, she finally stumbled upon a hut where local loggers found and rescued her. Julianne was the only survivor out of 91 passengers. She later became a biologist, dedicating her life to studying the very rainforest that nearly claimed her. Her story remains one of the most incredible survival tales in history.
And that's it for today's episode. 3 unbelievable stories. 2 were completely made up, and 1 was 100% real. Did you guess correctly? Sometimes truth is stranger than fiction, and other times a well-told lie can sound incredibly convincing. But that's why we're here, to challenge your instincts, test your logic, and keep you on your toes. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe for more mind-bending stories, and let us know in the comments which story fooled you the most. See you next time for another round of True or Trick. Until then, stay curious,